Hey guys, it's Maymay, and first I want to say thank you for your patience in waiting for this video. I had quite the busy weekend, quite the busy yesterday, but today we're going to get our art journaling done. And I'm sure everybody's life is that way sometimes, and you can't get things done right on time, and that's okay, which is ironic because of our verse this week. The page I'll be doing this week actually belongs here on a back side of the page. So I'm actually going to build the page outside the book and then put it in the book later. We've done that before, but just because of the way this lands, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to move my journal out of the way and show you what I have done. To start with, our verse is Jeremiah 29:11. Now, most of you probably know this verse. It is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for wholeness and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope." Now, this is from the ESV translation, and some translations say, plan to give you hope and a future. Now, as much as I love Jeremiah 29:11, I think if you don't read this verse all the way through, I think you miss out. So today we're going to carry down through 13, which I think is so important. 12 says, "Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will hear you." And in 13 it says, "You will seek for me and find me when you seek for me with all of your heart." And that to me is so important. Anytime I ever talk about Jeremiah 29:11, I always say through 13. And it actually carries on even further. And I challenge you guys to keep reading this and see what God's plans are. But for today, we will focus on the Jeremiah 29:11 through 13 in my book. So what I did was I took my Bible and I made a copy from my actual Bible page, and I blew it up 200% because I wanted it to be really big on this sheet. So I'm going to use this, and I found this Bo Bunny paper in my stash that has these blueprints. Do you see that? It has blueprints, and then it has like dress forms and stuff, but I love this blueprint, and so I'm going to make that part of my page as well. And we're going to get started. The first thing I want to do is cut out my pages to what they need to be. So I'm going to get my paper trimmer over here. And this page, I want it to be 8.5 by 11 because it's actually going to be the page that I glue into my journal, and that's the size of my journal. And I want this to be in the bottom right hand corner. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around so that I can get my 8.5 size. Just going to go ahead and make it 8.5 real quick. And then I'll cut the 11. Just like this. Oh, no, I do not like that. See how that went into my blueprints? So what I'm going to do is cut off this little white strip here. And then I'll flip this around in my cutter so that I take 11 from this end, or take the inch off from this end instead of from my blueprint, because I do not want to lose that. I want every bit of that. So now this is the page that will actually go into my journal. So there's that. And now I want to cut this down. Now, I'm going to leave some white on either side of this because I want to distress it. And I'm going to try to leave about the same on both sides. And I'm just going to end up with a strip of scripture. This was my plan. That's why you only have part of the page, because over here I'm going to cut away the other words, and I'm going to try to line it up really well and get just those words and leave myself as much of that as I can. Just like that. So this will be the portion that I'll be using. Okay? And now then, I'm not going to distress this page. I think it looks good. I'm not going to ink this page. We might distress it, but I'm not going to ink it. But this page I want to ink really, really well, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take my distress ink and an ink blending tool, and I'm going to distress this really good. I want it to change colors. If you have a light colored paper that you just want to go ahead and make your copies on, you could do that. But I want to give this kind of a tea-dyed look with my distress ink. So I'm just kind of starting from the edge and working my way around. And now I'm going to go to the middle and do the same thing all over the whole page. And I won't make you watch this. I'm just going to do this to the whole page until it's the right color. And then we'll get back together. Now, I've inked the page so that it's a different color. But now I'm going to do something that might freak you out a little bit. I'm going to wad it up. I want wrinkles. So there's that. Now I'm going to go in this direction. And I just want the wrinkles. I want it to look old and tattered, especially around the verse. So I'm going to spend a lot of time around where my verse is. and just really wrinkle it. Okay. Now I'm going to lay this back out. Now if I leave it like that, it's just a wrinkled piece of paper and you really can't see the definition. So I'm going to take my ink blending tool again, and this time I'm going to rub across the page so that it picks up on those wrinkles. You can also, watch this, you got to be brave. Just be brave. See how that really picks up? Look at that. And that will help it to look really tattered. Now because I did that there, I'm going to do that along the edges too. So there's that. And now, you know what I'm going to do before I put that up? I'm going to come back and do a heavy, heavy edge. Okay, now I really do want to distress the edges of this, so I have the distress tool somewhere. Let me find it. Got it. This is from Close to My Heart, and it's basically just a razor blade in this wheel. And what I'm going to do is just run this down the edge of this page. And remember, this is copy paper, not cardstock. So I don't have to be too awful rough with it. So I got a good bit of rips and tears along the edges, and now I'm just going to run this ink. Matter of fact, I may even turn it over and just ink up both sides. Just to kind of mess up that edge. I got some good rips and tears over here. One of them got into one of my words, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to fix that, but put some more ink on that. I just want it to look very tattered, and I think that definitely does. Now I'm going to do some underlining because I want my verse to pop. And what I'm going to do, I'm through with this now, so let's get some of this stuff out of the way. I'm going to come in here with my Market markers, and this color right here is honey brown, and I'm going to use it right inside of here to underline my verse. And I'm going to start at 11. And I'm just going to go, I think using a brown marker will help it to stand out, but it won't be so harsh like a black marker would. And I'm going all the way through 13, just like I discussed. You can stop or go wherever you want to with your verse. This is your scripture journal, so you just underline whatever you need to. And I always, even in my own Bible, I put little asterisks in places like that. Now, this doesn't say Jeremiah on it because I took that away whenever I blew it up so high. So I'm going to go ahead and add Jeremiah at the top, just so I remember. And I like that underlined like that. Now, this is going to go onto this page, and some of it's going to hang on and off, and that's okay because I'm going to either roll that up or tear it away. But I want these plans to show, so you know what? I may not put it crooked. I may just put it straight. But I want this to pop a little bit, so I want to run something down either side. Let me see what I've got. So I have this gold kind of meshy ribbon that came on a spool. I think that will look really cool running beside this to kind of help it pop. So what I'm going to do is this first piece, I'm going to run it like this, kind of in off of the edge but not too far. So I'm going to run it like that, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use some of my sticky tape to do it because I know that'll hold it in place. I'm going to stick some down here. Just try to get it pretty even. Very good. Pull that backer off. Alright, and now let's stick this ribbon in place. I'm going to go a little above where it's supposed to be and then kind of just put some tension on it to try to get a nice straight line. And it may not be perfect. I'm not going to stress. It's not the point. I'm leaving a little extra I'll probably just tuck behind. Now I want to stick this down and make sure my tattered edges show. And I want it to kind of be, that's pretty, I like that. I want it to be something like this. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use the same adhesive to put it down, because then I know I have it running right where it should be, and I can catch it really well, and it will stay in my book for a very long time. You could certainly use a wet glue. That wouldn't be a problem. This verse is so important to me. In youth ministry, I cannot tell you how many times you lean on this verse to remind a teenager that life is so much more than the moment they're in. And just hang on, because God's got good stuff for you. It's so hard as a teenager to know, because you're so young and you feel like this is life, when in reality a lot of times life doesn't start for years after you even get out of college. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's so hard for teenagers, I understand, but this was a verse we used quite often in our ministry, and still do. Works for adults as well, but that's just a good example of how many times I've leaned on this verse. Alright, so I'm going to put this strip down for the ribbon, and then I'm going to slide this one underneath for the paper just to catch it, because I wasn't sure how far over to go with my adhesive. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and put that ribbon down first. Then we'll seal the paper down. I love gold against Bible pages. I don't know why that is. I guess that's just what I associate them with. Alright, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to adhere these guys down in the back. I'm just going to put some of my adhesive back here. Just some pieces of it. And there you go. This is ready to go into my journal. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and put my adhesive on, and then I'll put it in the journal. And that's going to be it for this one. I love this verse. It means a lot to me. I've used it so many times. But the truth is, God knows what He's got for us. And sometimes we make these big, grandiose plans and things get changed and we get so upset about it. If we could just take a moment to know that whatever God's plan is for us is so much better than what we could ever plan for ourselves, then I think whenever our plans got changed, we'd be grateful because we'd know that He was the reason they got changed. So this week, think about that you know, His plans are higher and better than ours. And I've so enjoyed going on this journey with you. If you're interested in seeing what our journey is more about, head over to Hide His Word in My Heart, our Facebook group. There'll be a link below for you. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.